Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. And by Campbell's Custom Care, your detail specialist.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com at Steele Rubber in North Carolina. Now, they're putting on a car show here that you would not believe. Wall-to-wall rolling works of art. This place is fantastic. And visitors to Steele Rubber today are getting a nice treat. They're getting a tour of the facility where they make all the molds and extrusions. Now, it all starts in the tool room. That's where they make the molds to make the parts that go on your car, and also the metal core so they can make those parts forever and ever. Now everything leaves there and goes to extrusion. That's where the rubber comes out in strips. They can chop that up and make smaller parts, and then it'll go to molding. That's where two different extruded parts can be put together in a mold to make a single part for your car. This is also where bumpers and that sort of thing that can't be extruded are made. From there, everything goes on to trim and packaging. That's where everything's cleaned up, ready to be put in a package and shipped to you. And of course, if you order something from SteeleRubber.com, it usually ships the same day you order it. It'll be right in your living room in a couple of days. When Ben Pepitone bought this 1964 Impala SS over 20 years ago, he made a few upgrades, and the first thing he started with was all this rubber seals, because that's the first thing to go. Where'd you find everything you needed for this car?
Right here at Steele Rubber.
Why did you like going to Steele Rubber for it?
They had everything I needed, and what I didn't need, they made.
How difficult was it 20 years ago to find what you needed for the car?
Very difficult. The internet was very young, and there wasn't a lot of people doing it.
How much on the car is from Steele Rubber?
Well, inside the door jamb, there's little rubbers that where you seal the window, the back window against the front door. That seal is almost impossible to find anywhere else. Also, the back door hinge for the gas door. There's two little rubbers, bumpers. You can't find them anywhere but here.
You can see from the wall of extrusions behind us that Steele Rubber makes seals for just about every vehicle from the last 100 years. But Danny, what if in the rare occasion someone comes across something you don't make, or maybe they're building something that you don't have?
Yeah, even for all the parts that we do have, it happens all the time. So we have a customer that calls in and we don't have it, so we might try to figure out if we've got something that'll match, and that's where we go to this extrusion wall. Hey, yeah, we do have something that'll match your door weather stripping, and that's what we do. And if you've got molded parts, sometimes we'll have that original sent in, so see if it's something we'll make.
And then under what conditions would you make something?
You know, we got to make business sense, but you know, a lot of cars are changing, the demographics are changing. So as we move up into the 80s and 90s, those cars are becoming more popular and the demand goes up, so it becomes a good business decision.
What about the folks that are maybe doing a resto mod or some sort of hot rod that's not really a stock sort of thing? What can you do for them?
Well, that's the good thing. Rubber really translates well to resto mods, and unless you're doing something like a chop top, you know, you're not really modifying a whole lot. But even with chop tops, we can make custom windshield gaskets to, you know, get right in there and right to your dimensions and get you a window gasket.
And if all else fails, Steele Rubber has a universal line. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so our universal line is basically our collection of extrusions that we make on all these other parts. But if you've got something that doesn't quite match, you know, usually we can find something that'll get your window in or get your door sealed, get your trunk sealed, or whatever you need.
You can see vehicles of all kinds here at Steele Rubber today. In fact, if you like vans, they've got them. There's a 66 Ford over there that looks fantastic. Well, this 64 Chevrolet over here, Eric, it's in a little different state than that. So you're going to start restoring it. How hard has it been to find parts for this thing?
Oh, you can't find parts for it. You can find a few that off a truck that'll fit it, and a few off of like a Chevy 2. They use the brakes off it, and a Corvair dash is what goes in it. But other than that, you're junkyarding it for the parts.
Conversely, what's it like when it comes to the window rubbers and all the seals around the vehicle?
Now, Steele Rubber Products makes all that. They make every piece of that. We checked into that before we ever bought the van to make sure that I could at least get it sealed back up and be the way I want it when I'm done.
John Bauer restored this 1932 Ford about 20 years ago, and since then, John, you've driven it about 30,000 miles.
Right.
What's it like to sit behind the wheel of something you worked so hard to restore?
It's kind of unbelievable because it drives so great, goes down the highway, you know, at 75, 80 miles an hour like crazy. And it's a trip seeing all the people rubbernecking to try to look at you and, you know, look over and wave and say hi, and it makes you feel good.
You restored several vehicles. What's it like to work with Steele Rubber to get the parts you need?
Oh, it's great. I mean, the quality's always there, and you know when you get it, it's going to fit.
Well, that's going to do it from Steele Rubber in Denver, North Carolina. But don't you worry, because there's still a whole lot more to come from Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com.